that's the time that we do the stream. Hello, everybody. I'm so glad 7 o'clock arrived because Bobby and I were talking about politics before, which we would never do on the stream. Sometimes it gets heated between Bobby and I. And yeah, we don't do politics. Hi, everybody.
No news.
Sorry, what'd you say?
I said no politics,
Yeah.
no news.
No news.
It's news about music
And new plugins. New plugins.
new plugins.
Yeah.
Are there any new plugins? Have you come across any new plugins?
The last new plugin that I got excited about, I told you about, it's the filter arc from Korg.
Oh, right.
They basically took all their iconic classic synths and they took the filter section out of every synth and then sort of put it like in a pedal board style so you can feed one to the other and change the order. And there's some new modern filters as well. And so yeah, that's the last plugin that I got. Oh, right. I haven't used it yet, but I did pick it up. The XLN Audio DB30. This is, have you heard of this thing? Very cool. DB stands for drum butter. I'm not making this up. Drum butter.
Drum butter, okay.
Yeah. So it's sort of like combining they have a transient shaper and they have the retro color, right? And they sort of just took the two and made it into one giant plugin so that they could charge more money. But they added a few things like, some reverbs and, to sort of make it worth your while. And, oh, Bobby, we lost you.
I'll be right back.
Okay.
I just wanted to.
All good.
I always have to set this up.
No worries. I will just go full screen momentarily. We have to maintain our production value here, right? So
I want to show this screen.
Yeah,
what
for
the
sure.
DB30 looks like.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, this is drum butter. I messed around with it for maybe 15 minutes or so. And I actually have a test template called Drum Bus or something like that. And it's literally just for testing compressors on drums. And I, of course, have a drum kit with As the Levee Breaks programmed in the drum kit. And then, some decapitators and other fun stuff. And then I just test, like the Devlock Deluxe and, Radiator and, all these other wonderful plugins, including the, what's the name of the transient shaper? I always forget the name of the transient shaper. DS10 is their transient. Yeah. So DS10, oh, I get it. DS10, RC20, DB30. So they're going 10, 20, 30. So, by the way, Bobby is having a violent confrontation with his microphone. So if you hear sounds that sound like somebody punching a microphone, it's because it's actually happening. I mean, I'm just saying, just giving the behind the scenes. Anyway, hello, Spin. Hello, Nick. I hope Jasmine arrives because I put gel in my hair, So anyway, yeah. I don't know. No worries. I'm keeping people entertained with just playing a little bit of random music on the piano. That's a nice little surprise, right? Actually, one of the things we're going to talk about, I may as well get it set up. So big news, a Pac-Man cartoon has been announced, and it's definitely based on World 2. Once again, proving the influence it had on the franchise. Well, and you know what?
That is huge news.
I'm going to get, They're not going to call me to score it.
This is where they use your theme.
Yeah, well, that's going to be the really interesting part. They'll have to. If it's based on World 2, they're going to have to. Anyway, Jasmine, hello. I'm glad you're here. I did put gel in just for you. Yeah, that is very big news. It's exciting news. And I don't know. Maybe they're not going to have to. Maybe that's my ego speaking right now. But let's put it this way. I think that most people agree this is not my ego speaking. This is just what people are saying, that World 2 had the best of the three worlds. That it's the most iconic, it's the most memorable, it's the one that sort of feels like it should have been there for all three. No? So, and again, this is not my ego. This is literally what people are saying, you know. So I'd be honored if they did use my themes. That would be amazing. Because I'll literally like be so angry if they don't give me credit, you know, like main title theme originally by David A. Logan. Like if they don't do that, I don't know, guys. Like, I don't know what I'll do. I'll obviously be sad and hurt. And because you know what? They're not obligated. They're not obligated to credit me, right? They did credit me in the original and in repack. I got a tiny little credit way at the end. I always find it funny that the lawyer at Namco got a credit in the game before I did. like
game, right?
What?
On the repack before you got credit.
Yeah, exactly. But I still find it funny that somehow his job was more important. More weight, and he added more value to Pac-Man World 2 playing experience than I did. You know what I mean? Like it's so typical, you know, of. And I get it. I know exactly what the response will be. Well, we did all the repack credits first, and then at the end, we just put it as it was done on the original. We put it after. Well, you know, why not credit the people who brought it to us in the first place first? That seems a little bit more right?
Yeah.
You know, like for example, like when you see a movie, the opening credits in a movie, you know, that's based on a book, it will usually say based on the novel by XYZ, right? And if they just forego the opening credits, which lots of film studios do, because you get a fine, you have to pay, I don't know, $250,000 fine if you don't put credits in the opening sequence. So if you do leave it at the end, it's one of the first credits, you know, based on the novel by X, Y, and Z. So anyway, that's
the producer, and that will come before the screenplay writer.
Well, sure. But here's my point. Glenn Curtin, who was the producer of the original Pac-Man World 2, a guy I know, a guy I worked with on, you know, very regular basis for like 4 months, and got to know well. And I mean, actually, he and I got really close on 9/11 because I had a plane ticket to fly up there for the first meeting with the composer and Namco. And I was on a flight 9 a.m. of 9/11. And he and I literally were on the phone for like 3 hours in shock, you know, and because I called him and I was like, Glenn, obviously I'm not going to make it. He's like, yeah, I know. Fuck. He's like, it's creepy and eerie that you were booked on this day, you know? And I'm like, I know. It's like kind of scary. Anyway, but let's not talk about morbid things. Anyway, look, the point is he's way more important than the lawyer. So why is he credited after? Like, why not put the most important jobs all the way? You know, how long would it have taken for an executive producer to get an intern and tell them, you know what, let's group all the music credits and put this in a hierarchy, you know, how, first of all, if it was a free intern, it would have cost nothing. I don't know, whatever. Anyway, it's great news. I am really happy about it. Oh, they're saying that you sound very low.
I have no sound.
No.
You can hear me, right?
They're saying you sound low. Let me try and boost you.
Okay.
On my Sound Source app. Let's see. Now, interestingly enough, oh no, I don't know if this is going to screw everything up. Okay, wait. Do me a favor, Bobby, and just give me check 1, 2, 3.
Testing 1, 2, 1, 2.
More?
Check 1, 2, check 1, 2, testing 1, 2. Check 1, 2, check 1, 2.
See, now you're really, really loud. And the only way I can kind of fix this may wind up screwing everything. So I don't know if I want to risk it. It's redirecting. Oh dear, should I do this? Let me check loop back right now. Because right now, Zoom is the only thing that is not redirected into loopback. So like literally everything but that is redirected. So whatever. Let's just see what happens. Check 1, 2. Are you still there, Bobby?
Check 1, 2. Check
Okay.
1, 2. Testing.
Excellent.
1, 2. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. Testing. 1, 2.
Now he should be louder. Is he louder, everybody?
Am I louder?
Oh yeah, you're louder. I can
Try
see you're
speaking a
louder.
little louder.
You're a lot louder now.
Okay.
That should fix it. We should be good.
Let's hope.
Yeah, no, I'm
guess we'll just
looking
wait
at
for
the
the stream to
levels,
let
and
us know.
you're really loud now. So we're basically almost exactly the same now. So that should fix it. Yeah. There we go, says Nick. All right.
Thank you, Nick. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for pointing this stuff out, because it's good to know.
Right.
Anyway, let's move on. It's very exciting news, and it's just amazing that I haven't heard from anybody over there. I'm not hard to find, right? Like just
Right.
David Logan Music, Google it. You'll be able to find me, no problem. Anyway, it's the Shrek of Pac-Man, which is quite the feat. All right, well. Anyway, it's great news. But let's move on to our topics, yeah?
Right. So today we'll talk a little bit about melody, a little bit about reverb, how those two can intersect, and finally we'll talk about humility and what it means to the work you do and how you work with others, especially in this field.
Yeah.
And really, as in any field, being a service provider.
Yeah.
So let's start with melody. Where did melody start, David? Who was the very first human being? I need to know the year and location. Who was the very first person to do a melody? Well, let's start with what is a melody?
Okay, so a melody, first of all, let's start with what is pitch, right? Pitch is, or a note. A note is a symbol that represents two things: the duration, or how long, and the frequency, how high or low. And so melody is an organization of various notes that can have different pitches, different lengths, and it's organized specifically, almost exclusively, 99.99% of the time, it's organized in a structured series of what are called bars, and the bars are usually, and not exclusively, linked to a speed. And I say not exclusively because you can accelerate over time, you can, slow down, you can change the tempo, you can rush it, speed it up, pull it back. It's fluid, very fluid. But what is not fluid is this idea that in order for a melody to be a melody, it has to have a rhythmic structure that you recognize. And I'm going to give you the best damn example that I can humanly give you to prove this, that you cannot have melody without rhythm. All right, here we go. Ready? Anybody recognize that melody?
It's a Leia's theme.
Nope.
No?
I'm trying to prove my point first. But anyway, you should not be able to recognize these as melodies is the point. So if I do... How about now? Okay, that's taps. How about now? How about now? Oops, sorry, I missed that note. Here we have 4 notes, all the same exact notes, but we got 3 completely different and iconic and memorable melodies out of it. And that's the proof. That's all the proof you need. Because if I'm just randomly, and there's no rhythmic structure, right? So when you get, that's a rhythm. And that rhythm helps us to recognize the melody. So that, I think, is a good enough explanation as to what a melody is. It's an organization of notes in a series of bars in a rhythmic structure, specifically.
What do you think is the minimum number of notes? Can you get away with 2?
Yeah, sure. In fact,
the Jaws theme.
You can Google the millennial whoop. So what people started noticing is that all these songs would all have like all the, like, you name it, Miley Cyrus, Taylor Swift, they're always you know, there, and they call it, there's a name for it, the millennial whoop. So Justin Bieber does it, they all do it. So
One note samba, JT Scott says.
Look, I mean, you know, it's yes, you can do it with 2 notes, you know. And I would even argue, if you want to find out how good of a composer you are, you have a set of dice that has 12 positions, right? Roll the dice once, see what number you get. Roll the dice again, and if you get the same number, you have to roll again. So you get 2 different numbers, and let's say, you know, you get, we don't have to go full screen for this, but let's say you get a 6th, and then a 4th, let's say. Actually, just one interval. Just roll the dice and just one interval. And so if you roll a 12, you'll get
the octave,
right? And then see what can you do. I'm going to turn off this reverb for now. Whatever, I'm just improvising on those 2 notes. But so it is possible. Now, here's the thing about melody. Good melodies, outline chords. Okay, so if we go back, and maybe I will go full for this. If we go back to one of the most recognizable melodies of all time, well, that is outlining C and then G7. So we can play those two chords, our C chord here, and then our G chord. And I was playing it inverted, but that's okay. It's just because I suck at playing piano. So, but yeah, I mean, good melodies, you know,
Right.
outline chords. You know, you and I were talking just the other day about the Force theme, you know. That's G minor, right? Right? And it goes to C major, right? Borrowing from the Dorian. So, yeah, good chords, you know, outline, sorry. Oh dear. Good melodies will almost always outline some chord progression. I can't think of any melody. I mean, look at the Bach cello suites or his violin partitas, or
So let's go to the Baroque era, and let's talk about.
Okay, well, you were
melody
saying, you
and-
asked me something specific. Let's start at the very beginning. What is the first
Right.
melody? Okay, so let's answer that first. So let's first of all just talk about the history of all music. So we can trace the history of music through what's called the harmonic overtone series, which is a set of harmonics that are built on top of each other that every note produces. So if I play this C, believe it or not, very faintly, but with physics and oscilloscopes, we know that if we play this note, we're going to get the following notes on top. Actually, I should do it here. So it's a little... Oh, what am I doing? We get an octave first, we get a fifth, we get a fourth, a third, a minor third, so major third, minor third, a slightly smaller minor third, believe it or not. They're not the same minor third because we switched from what's called just intonation to equal tempered intonation. So now you're hearing the same exact minor third, but in just intonation, this would be slightly a smaller distance. All right, then we get a major second, and then we get a minor second, and then we get a quarter tone, and it goes to infinity. So I'll play it again. And what we get here is a dominant 7 minor 9 chord. That's exactly what we get. And so it's no accident that our music is based on the tonic and dominant relationship. Oops, sorry. Hard to get all those buttons straight. But we can trace the history of music on the harmonic overtone series. Why? Because we started off probably, the first wasn't even melody. It was just, oh. Right. And maybe everybody in the cave, you know, was praying for rain or deer, and they all together went, oh. And then some people had higher voices. Maybe the kids sang higher. Maybe the females, you know, had higher voices than the men. So they sing the same note, right? So, and the next intervals on top, the perfect fifth and the perfect fourth. The reason this is called a perfect octave, perfect fifth, perfect fourth, is because the church, the early church, this is around, you know, Pope Gregory, etc. Actually, probably years before Pope Gregory, but don't quote me on this. Anyway, the point is the church believed those intervals to be holy and pure and perfect, which is why they were called the perfect octave, the perfect fifth, and the perfect fourth. So cave go, oh, yes, it does. That is correct.
I was just imagining the chief smacking somebody in the head for being out of tune.
Yeah.
Being like, that's not the right C, man.
Yeah. There's a very funny Mel Brooks in the History of the World Part 1 about how music was invented. It's pretty funny. No spoilers though, just History of the World Part 1, how music was invented. Just Google it. Okay, but going back to this. So if we think about the first music in the church, probably sounded like it was done in octaves. And then somebody figured out, hey, what if we do it like this? Right? And then maybe they were like, and we can try this too, which is the fourth, right? But we get the fourth automatically. You don't have to go full for this, but this is the fifth. This is the fourth from here to here. So just doing an octave and doing the fifth in the center, we get a fifth and a fourth. And for those that don't know music, this is called a fifth because 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth position, right? Now relative, okay, this is, well, in its fixed diatonic position, we have 5, 6, 7, 8, and that's where we get the word octave. But the relative position is 1, 2, 3, 4. So the interval between these is a fourth, okay? Fifth, fourth, okay? So then we get the first new interval, which is the major third, right? Now, if we go and we play, for example, that major third down an octave, we get a minor sixth, okay? And I point this out because I believe it's John Dowland was the first, is sort of credited as the first composer in the world to use the major third and the idea of major and minor thirds is British, distinctly British. Okay. And so I believe it's John Dowland, if I'm not mistaken. And look, I mean, all humans sort of evolve in a similar way, right? Look at the pyramids that were built in Mexico and in Egypt, right? So there's no way they could have. And of course, the conspiracy theorists love that. Well, that's because it was built by aliens. It's like, yeah, okay, whatever.
Well, I had read that maybe, that there was some contact between these civilizations that
yeah.
But still, the fact that they
look, the water,
with different
yeah,
things,
and the water erosion on, I believe, the Sphinx is basically like 11,000 years old.
Right.
And so maybe they sailed across to the New World long before we ever thought, but it's erased by history, for example, because it happened so long ago. There was no such thing as writing things down back then, right? So anyway, totally different topic, but regardless, very British. Then we get the minor third, the slightly smaller minor third, and we get that dominant chord. And the dominant tonic relationship is the basis of all Western music. So it's built in. So all of our melodic history, harmonic history, because we're saying that, good melodies always outline chords.
The chords.
And so we have the history of music built into physics, like it's literally built into physics. You can actually see these if you have a oscilloscope. You can play a note and then you can see the upper harmonics where they're resonating, right? Great little experiment that you can do. If any of you have a piano at home, for example, what you can do, just press the keys down without actually sounding them, just hold the keys like that. And then put the sustain pedal, the one all the way to the right, push that down, and then as hard as you can, bang, hit the bottom C, and you will hear the notes that you're holding down will start to ring, right? And that's the sympathetic vibrations from the harmonic overtone series. It's a pretty amazing
Right.
phenomenon. Anyway, so Jasmine is asking, does it sound better for our brains if it repeats also when music just becomes noise? Well, I'm going to skip the part about music becoming noise, if you don't mind. Repetition, yes. In fact, one of the things that's so wonderful about just music in general is that it does repeat, right? Yes, repetition is a very, very important part. Either individual notes being repeated or entire melodies being repeated, right? So in structure, in musical structure, one of the most basic structures is called the rondo. And this is an A section, which is, let's just say, whatever, a verse, okay? And then there's a B section, which for argument's sake, we'll just call the chorus. And then it goes back to the A section, but instead of repeating the B, it goes to the C section, which whatever, bridge 1, we can call it, back to A, and then it goes to the D section, bridge 2, whatever, back to A, E, A, right. F, A, G, etc. So this is like and then we it becomes familiar to us, right? So in contrapuntal music, something that's not truly contrapuntal, but there's something called a round, which is row, right. row your boat, right? And so what makes row your boat gently down the stream, what makes it all work is that it repeats itself exactly at a certain point, right, and then works perfectly, right?
What is it called when people sing that and then somebody else comes in and
it's called a round.
Is it? That's it? It's just a round? Okay. I thought it had a different name, but maybe I'm wrong.
What did you think it was?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I thought it had a different name, but I guess you're right. Yeah,
I think it's called. I'm pretty sure that's what. Let's ask ChatGPT right. while I continue. Because now I want to know.
To pull up an oscilloscope. I downloaded it. I installed it. I just can't get the audio in. I wanted to show the stream how.
Okay. I can probably. All right. Well, first of all, let's remember, guys. I'm the enemy of music theory. Don't forget.
Indeed.
So
do not forget
we want to check. It's only the responsible thing to do. I hope I'm wrong in calling it a round because I want to continue my amazing legacy of, being the enemy of music theory. So somebody ChatGPT that or Google that. I believe it's called a round. Let's see here. Musical form of row your boat. Let's see. Around. Yes, I am correct. Okay. Well, at least according to AI and the internet.
Okay.
Right. I think maybe, that it could be you might have been thinking of a canon, which is another similar.
I think now that I hear it, it's round sounds about right.
Yeah. A canon is not, it's not the same thing because if you think of the most famous one, Pachelbel's canon, you definitely hear the melody, but there are variations, but you're always coming back to it. The form, the chord progression never changes. Actually, it's the same chord progression from beginning to end. And there's no real B section. Not that I recall anyway. I can't stand hearing that piece of music. It drives me crazy. I don't know why.
I know.
I think it makes everybody crazy. So anyway, so I don't know. Is that good enough for our topic of melody?
I think so. Is that your phone ringing?
Nope. Might have been my shoes squeaking. I have some squeaky shoes on.
No, I'm hearing a literal phone ringing.
Nope. It's definitely not me.
That is bizarre.
Yeah, not me.
Whatever. It ended.
All right.
Maybe I was getting calls.
I'm just going to grab a little drink over here. What is our next topic?
So I wanted to see reverb. and how the reverb changes music to, I mean, how fundamental reverb is, and how if you listen to something with and without the room, how much it changes. And reverb throughout the years, why people like different reverbs, why people,
Sure. I think maybe we could even do sort of like an overview, brief history of reverb. Talk about the different kinds of reverbs. So I'm just thinking like this could be a really good sort of content thing. So maybe I should go into Logic full screen for this. What do you think?
Yeah.
Because I think this
Let's
could
do
be
that.
something that we could kind of chop up and use for content.
Let's look at a couple reverbs, and maybe you can explain.
I'm going to just sort of go, I'm going to briefly go through
What's what?
the history of reverb. Okay.
Right. Okay.
And well, because I think it could be a good subject, for our purposes. I mean, for what we're
Right. So I'm interested in, where was the first recording reverb? How did that work out?
I can definitely take you through that. All right. So
Okay.
let's first of all, I'm going to go full screen.
Sure.
I'm going to go and move all this crap out of the way that I don't need. Put that over there. And we're going to open up Logic, and we'll just keep it on a piano. And I guess we'll just go pure plate. And then I'm just going to get these kind of prepared.
Okay.
So I don't know.
So while you do that, I'm going to
Yeah.
list my wish list of what I expect to hear about. I expect to hear about the Abbey Road room reverbs, how the Beatles use reverb.
Yeah.
I think you know a good amount about that. The transition between, then I guess at some point we can talk about convolution and algorithmic, but that's not as interesting. I'm more interested in the physical, the plate reverbs, the ones who are like, okay, we're going to grab a speaker, stick it in some room, put a steel plate on, and see what that does to the sound.
Mm-hmm.
So
I am literally just loading them up. I got a pure plate. I have which I'm not going to use actually. We're going to open up the Capital Chambers to talk about chamber reverbs.
right.
We're going to then grab ourselves an Arturia spring reverb. So we've got chamber, plate, spring. Then I suppose, am I missing anything? Oh yeah, right. Okay. No, I'm not. So then we have a algorithmic, and then finally we are gonna just use a convolution because that's sort of the final resting place. Now, I'm not gonna talk in depth about the technology, for example, behind impulse responses.
No.
I'll
I just
sort
want
of
to.
gloss over that part a little bit.
Right.
But let's start.
I think I'm more interested in what you know about the history.
Yeah, I can talk to you about that. Now, I am certainly not a reverb historian that knows the entire history of reverb, but we're going to take a piano now and just run it through, and I'll explain what I do know. So first of all, let's go back maybe even to prehistoric times, and a lot of people now
cave.
are speculating that maybe Stonehenge was some kind of an acoustic, right? echo chamber, or there were some acoustic properties to Stonehenge, right? Now, certainly the Greek and Roman amphitheater, right? This idea of studying how sound bounces off reflective surfaces and can be amplified, all right? So if you really want to talk about the first reverbs, you're going to go to the amphitheater, then you're going to look at the churches and cathedrals that were built all over Europe, and the specific singing Gregorian chant that use that reverb. Now, of course, we will never know what that sounded like. Well, we can get close because, you can put a bunch of monks and have them sing in the Cappella di Sistina and then understand what it sounds like. But regardless.
Right.
As far as what we do, okay. Now, I know you want to talk about the Abbey Road stuff, and I think that's some of the most famous stuff. Well, I'm going to talk about something more famous, I think.
Okay.
That predates the Abbey Road, which are the Capitol Chambers, and I'm going to talk about them because I also have them. So
okay,
it's
great.
it's a good thing. Now, I would argue Abbey Road is more famous, but it begins here. As far as like the most iconic reverb, and the most iconic recordings using chambers. So Capitol Records, which is close to Franklin Avenue, and I believe either Vine or Highland, I can't remember. Anyway, in Hollywood proper, is the Capitol Records building, and this is where everybody who's anybody recorded. You name it, Frank Sinatra, everybody recorded there.
It's the famous Capitol. I put it up on the screen. It's the famous Capitol Records building. Yeah.
Oh, right. And you can even see a little tiny icon here above the letter P. Okay, wait, let's go back. There we are. Excellent.
Right.
So that is the Capitol Records building I'm talking about. Now, what they did is, I don't know how many feet exactly, but let's just call it, 30 or 40 meters or like 100 feet. They dig 100 feet down into the earth. Now, why? Because you don't hear anything down there. It's 100% silent, and you're not going to hear any noise of traffic, for example. So why did they do this? Well, as you can see in this little, actually, maybe do you want to pull up the Capitol Chambers pictures?
Sure.
Yeah, let's do that. But you can see, before we look at that, this is the little graphic of what the Capitol Chambers look like. So they basically made these, cement boxes, completely flat surfaces, all reflective surfaces. And you can see here on one side, you have these microphones, and on the other side, you have speakers. So the way it worked was, and let me know, Bobby, when you've got...
I pulled up the floor plan and the picture of the speakers.
Okay, there you go. Perfect. That's it. So that's the Capitol Chambers right there. So, and there's the speakers. And then you could put whatever microphones you want, and you would get a different sound, based on...
Were the speakers set, or did they move the speakers too? Do you know?
I don't know. I mean, you theoretically, you absolutely could, Right. And it was some poor soul's job to walk down the stairs 100 feet down and, move the speaker. And then presumably the producer, would be in the control room saying, a little bit more to the left, please. Let's try the ribbon mics instead of the condenser mics. And then they would have to stay down there and do that, right? So it's a two-way system, right? You've got cables running down to the loudspeakers, and then you've got cables running up to the recording console. And the way it worked was like this. Let's say Frank Sinatra is singing on the main stage at Capitol Records. Well, the microphone that he's singing on in the studio, the actual microphone in the studio, from the console, that gets sent down and played out the loudspeakers. And then it goes in the chamber and it reverberates. And then the microphones pick up the sound of his voice reverberated, completely 100% reverberated. And then that returns back up to the mixing console. And then the engineer can simply, dial in as much or as little as they want of the reverberated signal. Okay. So now let's go ahead. We'll listen. We'll go ahead and I think we're on bus 5 here. Oh, right. I'm running through all the reverbs at once. That's not a good idea, guys. All right, here we are. So all right, that's what it sounds like. And of course, we can change the microphones and get a slightly different effect. And I'll try and play consistently the same thing. Not a huge difference, mind you. But that's essentially it. Now, we also have this mix knob, and this is the part where we can dial in as much as or as little. Now, to be fair, I'm running this from an auxiliary send, so I can also just control the amount from here. But so if I decide that the decay is too long over here, I can just simply turn that down.
And this was the first room in the
I mean, I don't know where the first
making of records. Or?
Well, okay, so I don't know where who built the first actual chamber. I'm saying this is the first and most iconic of all time.
Got it.
Because it was, well, I mean, maybe Abbey Road, but you have to understand, Abbey Road only became legendary because of the Beatles, right? And those chambers only became legendary because of the Beatles. Whereas Frank Sinatra made Capitol Records legendary, and these chambers were legendary, right? So now, I again, I don't know my Beatles history, but I do know that Capitol Records was their American distributor, and so I think they pressed some Capitol Records versions. I don't know. Somebody can Google that if they like. I would be curious to know if they actually ever recorded here, or if they only recorded probably only in Abbey Road. Anyway,
did they only record in Abbey Road?
I don't know. I don't know, because I don't really know Beatles history. There's certainly people that do know that. But look,
no, I'm very
here
curious.
we are. We're changing the decay value now, and we get something very different. Now, by the way, one of the things I'm doing here is sometimes even referred to the Abbey Road technique, or the British technique for treating reverbs, which is I'm doing a high pass and a low pass filter. So we're cutting off all the low end and all the high end. And and the reason that we do that is, well, here I can show you. So if we bypass this and I'm playing a lot of low notes, well, we're getting a lot of rumbling now in the reverb. There you go. You can hear it now, right? It's muddy, it's cluttered. So this is a very, very, very common technique. Some people will put it after the reverb. I like going in clean, there's always these debates, do you do compression first or EQ first, and that's why eventually like SSL made it switchable. So you can, you want EQ first, go for it. You don't like that, hit the switch button and you get compression first. So anyway, but I never compress reverbs. I don't know that anyone does. Maybe some, I know, well, actually, yeah, EDM producers do for certain circumstances. But anyway, going back to the second, and if I have this wrong,
do you always EQ before you compress?
Say again.
Do you always EQ before you compress? You specifically? Really?
Yeah. If you look at my signal chain here, you can, on the left here, you can see I've got EQ, compressor, and then decapitator. This is the saturator.
Right.
And I'm emulating an Ampex tape recorder. And some people would ask, rightfully ask, why don't you have that first? Because, for example, this does more than just emulate tape, because you can do channel EMI, channel strip, a Neve 1073, the pentode, and the topode. I don't even know what the hell that's, typode. From the Thermonic Culture Vulture. These are two algorithms that are from the Thermonic Culture Vulture. Anyway, it's a hardware saturator. The point is that I'm using it as saturation, even though I've got it set to tape. But the point is, I want the coloration to occur after. I want it to be the final thing. Because if I want some distortion, I want to be able to hit that drive button after the fact. I want my compression in. So just in case anybody's wondering, why I have it that way. Okay, the next form, and if you want to pull up EMT 140, Bobby, if you could do that while I'm talking about this.
Yeah.
So this is the EMT 140. Well, it's a plug-in version from Universal Audio. And well, first of all, how about we just listen to what it sounds like? Okay, here we go. So that's the EMT 140. And this is what's called plate reverb. And again, as far as I know, this is sort of the second reverb in history. And the way this worked, and just let me know, Bobby, when that's up.
I'm trying to find it. All I see is the plugin.
Oh, okay. Do you see a bunch of things that look like plywood?
Here, I can show you my screen here. I haven't tried to see if I could buy one.
Oops.
I guess.
There it is. You're looking at it right there.
Okay.
Here, let me go and share this. Where are we here? There we are. There it is. That's an EMT 140. That plywood box, basically. And there's a transducer, a piece of electronics on it that basically takes the signals, converts them into an electronic signal. There you go. You just had you were on the plate a moment ago. Yeah, there it is, the plate. You can actually see. And they're huge, by the way. They're massive, really, really big units. Anyway, what's important is the technology inside. So, and so there'd be a transducer. You get an electronic signal of whatever your microphone or your guitar, whatever you're passing through, and that transducer would convert the signal and send it through the plate. And it's a metal plate, literally a plate or a sheet of metal. And what would happen is it would reverberate because the metal has a resonant quality to it, right?
I found it. Okay. Here it is.
Here, let's go. There you go. There it is. Yeah. That's the actual metal plate. And it's really big. I mean, it would go up to your shoulders probably. And it would be taller than you if you put it vertically. So there it is. That's it. That's the EMT 140, and you can own one for $11,300.
Low price of $11,000 with $2,600 for shipping. $2,700 for shipping.
Why anybody would want this, I have no idea. Like, if anything, you would have to pay me to take it away from your studio. Like, that's how valuable it is to me. Like, if somebody called me and they said to me, "Hey man, do you want a free EMT 140?" I'd just say, yeah, no, thanks, man. Because the stress and anxiety, even of selling it for $12,000, having to package it and all that shit, no, I'm not interested. Because we've reached the perfection. Listen, guys, I can tell you from my personal experience that physical modeling and plug-in duplications of famous hardware is anywhere from 97 to 100% the same. And I'm speaking from a person who literally owns look at all the hardware, right? There's hardware everywhere. And a lot of the hardware you see in there, I have plug-in versions. And there's, in most cases, I literally can't tell the difference. So, okay, getting back to this. So that's how the EMT 140 works. And here we've got reverberation time. So this is in seconds. So if we want a really short plate, and sometimes I'll use this just to, get some stereo thickening, because you have this width knob here, this stereo width right here. So very often, and sometimes I'll even put it on the minimum. If you listen to that versus this, you hear one has more stereo. And there's a little bit of polish on it. Anyway, right. You can adjust that right here. The golden number is about, 2.5 to 3 milliseconds for a nice lush reverb. Anyway, so this is the EMT 140, and you've got other controls here. For EQing, you want to EQ your reverb, you can. You got the depth, modulation depth and rate, and you have a bit of pre-delay. You've got plate select, so if you want to try different plates and get a different tone, you can do that. Now, my favorite plate plugin is actually not this. I'm showing you this, and by the way, this has been modeled by many different companies, and Arturia also.
Right. The Rev 140, I think.
Yeah. So this is their version of the same plugin. So just different, sounds basically the same. Just actually, I'd argue that sounds better. I would.
Arturia makes some good stuff.
I think it kind of sounds a little better, but whatever.
Right.
So.
Okay.
But
so
for my money,
chamber.
Wait, hold on. This is a very important pro tip for everybody.
Okay.
For my money, the best plate reverb in the world is the UAD Pure Plate. And the good news,
it's free.
Exactly. The good news about this is it's 100% free. And this is based on the EMT 140, and oh, right, my default, I have it set really short. Beautiful, just gorgeous. So, yeah, it's free, guys. This is 100% free from Universal Audio. Right. And Universal Audio, hands down, is the best plugin maker of all time. And I don't want to debate anybody on this. Yes, Arturia is fantastic, and they modify things and sometimes change and put features that were never there to suit how they want to use the plugin, which that's great. UAD is the best because they are the originators of a lot of the original hardware technology. Like they invented the 1176 field effect transistor compressor. They bought Tektronix. What the hell are they called? Tektronix.
Yeah.
So they purchased them and then got all the schematics and rights to make the LA2A, which those are the two most famous compressors. 2 of 3. The third is the Fairchild, which is I believe they're a British company.
Right.
So anyway, all that to say, I trust UAD above every other company for getting the most accurate and closest to the original as possible. Like, who are you going to trust to do an emulation of an 1176? The actual company that invented the technology in the first place, or some French company called Arturia? No, I'm joking. They're fantastic. Don't get me wrong.
I think when it comes to the the company that invented it sucks.
Well, they don't suck. They suck as a company, but they don't suck as their technology doesn't suck.
No,
yeah,
the way that they're
well, it's not them though. They sold out, right? They sold themselves to Harman, and then Harman was bought by Samsung, and they destroyed the company.
Yeah.
Not their fault. So originally they were the greatest. Yeah, I mean, my point is, and by the way, what we're talking about is going to be our almost next reverb. It's the very, very famous Lexicon 480L, which this is based on, and also the 224.
I have a question about that.
Yeah.
If somebody came in and said, here's $1 million to build your studio, okay, just for you, would you buy a Lexicon?
No. Well, okay, I would, if it was like money was no object, I would buy one for the simple fact that if I had $1 million studio and I was working on big records and I was hiring engineers to come in and mix, oh yeah, for sure I'd have one. Because they know you need to see that white remote control on top of the console.
You as a composer,
no.
Would you buy one for yourself?
Never. I would never waste my money on it. It's a complete waste of money. And the reason why, it's important to explain why. It's algorithmic. It's a digital reverb, right?
Right.
So it's just an algorithm. And so you just suck the algorithm out, put it in a plugin, you're done for the day, all in a good day's work, right? So no, I would never, I'd never buy one. I would way rather buy some crazy instrument and then modify it and, hire someone to help me build a great sample library that is a custom library. But anyway. Okay, so free completely, I highly recommend it. The next one on the list is a spring reverb. The idea is identical to the plate, but it's like the poor person's plate reverb. So instead of a sheet or plate, it's actually running through a spring coil. Like imagine a spring coil on your mattress. So, and it sounds like this. And let's go a little bit more. Yeah, it's okay. I'm not crazy for it, honestly, but. That's not bad. It's nice. Oh my gosh, I have a decapitator on. That's not a very good thing to have on when showing.
That will change the sound, yeah.
Oh my gosh. I was like, where's that distortion coming from? Okay, so that's basically it. The next two are the most modern or close to our times. This is the algorithmic, and this is based on the Lexicon 480L and the Lexicon 224, the sort of two most iconic. And, many argue the 224 was a better reverb. I don't know. For me, I just love the 480L and whatever. They're both great. They're both amazing reverbs. So this is a purely digital reverb. I believe it came out in 1986, if I'm not mistaken. So
used on many, many, many famous. I mean, it was the reverb, right? It
was, like literally every record you've ever heard used either the 224, which I think came out 79 or 78 or 79. I think 78. Or was that the first Ultra Harmonizer? I'm getting my dates mixed up. Are you Googling that, Bobby?
Yeah, in the process.
So I think 86 was the 480L, and I think I'm going to go with 78, my final answer for
Okay.
224. Was it 79?
I'm trying to figure it out right now.
Okay.
71. Let's see. Reverb and effects. 224 XL was 1980. Okay, yeah. 1986 was the 480.
Okay.
79 was the 224.
79. All right. I went with 78. Damn it. Got it off by... Well, I am the enemy of music theory. Let's not forget that, guys.
True.
So I'm also the enemy of music history, apparently. Anyway, I love this reverb. It is absolutely my favorite. And this is the actual version that's made by Lexicon. So, yeah. And so, oh, right. Let's, so this is, by the way, what you're looking at here is just the remote control. So, oh, there, you can see the rack unit there. Yeah. There it is. That's it. That's it. You got it now. So it was a 4 rack mount space. So it went in your rack and it was just a black box. But then it had a remote control, which is that white thing. And if you look at pictures of recording studios, you know, from the 80s and 90s, if you look at the recording console, like the Neve or the SSL, you will always see this white box sitting on top. And that's exactly what that white box is. It's controlling the reverb. It's the controller for the reverb. So how long, the decay, the attack, all these things. So there it is. So legendary reverb. Okay, so so that's it. So it's an algorithm. It's a purely digital. And the reason I would never buy a real one is because this is made by Lexicon, the one you're hearing right now.
It's the actual algorithm.
It's the actual algorithm. Yeah. So why would I buy a real one when I have it here in plugin? Now, a different question. Oh, damn it. Hold on a second. I've got to... It's strange. I almost always religiously check my cameras before I do a stream, and this is the one day that I didn't do that.
Quick technical malfunction.
Technical malfunction, because I was going to show you guys. Let's see if this is online now. Oh dear. Still no? Why not? I don't understand why not. Damn it. All right. Well, sometimes it just takes like a minute or two to come back online. Anyway, if you were to ask me, I go crazy when my studio is not working the way it should. What's crazy is we right before the stream, I'm pretty sure I checked, so it must have been while we're streaming. Anyway, these are 3 hardware lexicons here. PCM 80, 81, and 90. If you were to ask me, you know, would you ever sell those? The answer would be absolutely not. And if you ask me, well, why not? Well, those are different algorithms, and there is no plug-in version of any of those. So now the PCM 90 sounds just as good as, you know, as the, well, not maybe as good, but it should sound similar. Let me just check this here. Still no? Oh, come on. You got to be joking me. I don't understand what's going on with this. It really bothers me when stuff is not working as it should. Like, it really bothers me. Oh, did I get it? I think I got it. Let's see. I got it. So now I just gotta pop it back in. Oh, damn it. Sorry, guys. Technical malfunction.
Hey, David, why don't you put me on screen if you can? The next time you get close to your thing, I can show off some of the pictures of these things.
Hold on. I literally just got it right now. Okay. Sorry, guys. I literally go nonlinear, like batshit crazy when, oh, come on. I hate it when they do this. All right. Well, all right. I'll put you on the screen. as you requested. And then I'll literally just get rid of that stupid thing.
So I can just show this is the Teldex Studio, and you can see it here. I don't know if you can see my mouse, but in between the two consoles, you can see the little white box. Which I don't know why everybody has that, but I guess you're not a professional studio if you don't have that little white box remote.
I don't know what the hell's going on now. All hell has broken loose. So you're showing what? The Teldex stage?
Yeah, and you can see how they have the little remote. Just trying to find examples of it in the real world.
All right.
Let's see. Crystal Ortology has it.
I very much hope that I have finally restored order in my studio.
Nice. Nice.
Except the color's wrong, but that's okay. At least I'm here.
A little dark, but that's all right.
Yeah, that's all right. At least I have it. I'm not going to go crazy. Okay, so that's algorithmic reverb. The final stage, and by the way, there's lots of great versions of this. Okay, so the Valhalla Vintage Verb is the closest to this that you'll ever get. The Arturia LX24 is sort of like my go-to on my reverb bus. So I love that one as well. But I also keep the Valhalla on the same bus, just bypassed, because sometimes I like the Valhalla, sometimes I want the LX24. So
what do you think of the idea of reverbs on the track and on the bus? How often do you do that?
I never put it on the track itself. Never.
Really? Never say to yourself, this just needs its own sound. That's interesting. Okay.
Well, okay. There's one exception to that, which is like if I'm doing like a crazy sort of sound design experimental track like that. Yes. Or if I'm trying to get like, I remember in Heroes Over Europe, I was trying to get the sound of an offstage trumpet. And so I ran it through its own reverb, but it's very rare. It's not, first of all, you're going to kill your CPU. I mean, it takes up so much more CPU doing it that way. And the whole point of a reverb is that you want everything to sound like it's coming from the same area.
Well, or in addition to, I would say. So you put the reverb on the track and...
No, I literally never do it. Never. Unless it's for a certain kind of an effect I want. And look, I mean, I'm not saying that it's wrong or incorrect or anything like that. I'm just saying I don't do it, you know? So, all right. The final kind of reverb is called convolution reverb. And it's very difficult to explain how this works. Essentially, the simplest way to explain this is imagine a sampler, but instead of sampling a piano and a guitar, it's sampling an acoustic space. And the way this works is on what's called an impulse response. So you need to record a really sharp transient, like you can do it with a spark, or, you know, clapping two pieces of wood together, you know, two 2x4s, for example, smack. And then what this technology does is it looks at the sample and then it removes the snapping quality of whatever you use to make the snap in the first place. In other words, the hard transient. It removes that, or rather it replaces that sound with your guitar or your piano or whatever you decide to put in. So this is sampled reverb, basically.
Right.
And this technology has been around, I don't know, 10 or 15 years now. And, you know, it's a great, you know, I mean, it's wonderful. You can get beautiful, you know, reverbs. The other cool thing about it is that you can, and by the way, you can also control the length of the reverb here, right? So if you want it shorter, if you don't want such a pre-delay. How do we do that? Why can't we? All right. Anyway, I literally never ever use this in the way that I'm doing right now. Anyway, right. So if we just want vocal hall, let's take a simple. There we go. So anyway, for me, I don't use convolution all that much. Now I did use the convolution technology to actually record my PCM80, my beloved PCM80, right? So,
right.
And the PCM80 combined reverb, delay, and filtering for an unbeatable, Nothing sounds like that, like nothing.
Right.
And that's why I keep my PCM80s, By the way, Bobby, you have these. You should have these in one of the...
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, okay, right. Good. So, because it's like my favorite sort of specialty effects. So that's right. Basically it, man. That is the sort of, at least the very... fast version of the history of reverbs with David Logan. So thank you.
Let's talk about how important the reverb is when it comes to the feel of the music. How dialing more reverb. And is that just I always go back to how much of this is nature versus nurture? How much of it, like, do we just associate these grand sounds because they've been put on us for, decades and decades? Or do we have that feeling of space naturally? I guess we do, right? Like when you go to a place like, I don't know, the Grand Canyon or any really open place, and you clap and you hear that sound.
You say echo.
Right. You feel something there,
we love
right?
sound.
It's not.
Humans love sound, and we have, in the same way we eventually controlled agriculture, we have controlled sound perfectly. Yeah. We literally have perfected the art of recording sound and recreating it, and live sound, right? Church services, like that's a big thing, about how to mix for church service,
Yeah, that's a whole genre.
Yeah, it's a whole thing onto itself,
crazy.
So, and then, Behringer is just crushing it, man, with their wing mixer. Man, that thing's amazing. I kind of want one. They're so cool. No, they're great because I got all this hardware now, right? And I'm reviving the hardware, I should say, and I'm starting to use it a lot more. And so I have a little line mixer, and the output runs into the Apollo. So basically, it's a 16 channel, which means I can choose 8 of my top synths that are hardwired. And then I have everything else on the patch bay. So I can still patch everything, but it'd be so nice to have it all online all the time and never have to patch and deal with cables and whatnot. But okay, to answer your question, how important is it? Okay, well, let's take this melody I've been playing all night and listen to it dry. Okay. And now let's just add that luscious reverb inside. And what do we get?
Which one are we adding?
The LX24.
Okay.
You get this resonance and this lush tail. How important is it?
It's emotion.
Sorry?
It brings with it emotion.
And that's it. That's the key right there. Yeah. You're adding an emotional depth, right? Now, I'm dialing in almost the maximum amount of reverb I would ever use. Something more reasonable would be about like that. Actually, we can do this.
This is all to emulate.
Sorry?
This is essentially, I mean, I guess there's a difference between emulating a large space and reverb. How can I put it? Some reverbs are designed to make it seem like you're in a space, right? And then some are more like the chamber reverb. That's just a stylistic kind of thing, right?
Well,
that's not there to simulate you being in a chamber.
I
guess it is, but nobody wants that particular sound.
Well,
like a large chamber, I guess.
Look, when I use the capital chambers, which I use on Pascal's records sometimes.
Okay.
You
on
know,
the vocals?
It's because I just like the way it sounds on his voice.
Right.
Because he's kind of a crooner, you know, he kind of has. So I'm also trying to stay true to the project. And I always say, as a producer, if you change 100 things on a track that most people would never be able to tell the difference, it adds up to one big improvement, changing 100 little things. Yeah. So using the algorithmic digital reverb it's a beautiful sound, man, but it's slightly artificial sounding compared to the capital chambers, right? So now, to be fair, the capital chamber, the technology behind those capital chambers is impulse response. It's all recordings. They went down and did right? Like you're not in the physical chambers. But UAD had access to the capital chambers and tested it day, night, day, and, you know, until they basically were, look, I believe maybe in this case, it's not going to sound 97% the same. And we will never know because we'll never be able to go to that studio and check. But I'd have to argue if it's UAD doing it, it's going to be in the 90 percentile, you know, has to be. You know, otherwise they wouldn't release it. You can't recreate a reverb that iconic, right? And not nail it is what I'm trying to say. Right.
Yeah.
And they nail everything. They get it right every time.
If they didn't. Yeah.
Let's just quickly look at the chat. I just want to make sure I'm not ignoring everybody. Sorry guys, I'm trying to juggle everything.
Jasmine has an interesting question about repeating music.
Which
in some instances you're anticipating the music kind of circle back and are disappointed when it doesn't.
In some instances you're anticipating the music to kind of circle back around, and you feel, yeah, maybe that's a point. Sure. Yeah, especially, you know, like on a chorus or something. And in orchestral classical music, this can happen where, you know, you think it's going to sort of lead up to a certain moment and it doesn't, you know. Actually, Tchaikovsky, I think, did this in one of his symphonies where he's building up to this massive moment and then just made everything soft. And it's like, oh. I remember this actually really had an impact on me. But
what do you think of the short music? How short music has become?
What do I think of it?
Like, yeah,
I think
like
it's
pop
terrible.
Songs, 2 minutes, 1 minute, 45 seconds.
Yeah, I think
no
it's
bridge,
horrible.
One chorus.
Yeah, I think it's terrible. So, because, you know, everything is being, you know, made for
shorts.
Yeah, for everything short attention spans, people that can't sit and focus. And yeah, it bothers me a lot, you know, because, you know, I mean, look at Hey Jude, right? It was like over 5 minutes long and they were specifically told this will never get played on radio ever. Like if you release this song, make a radio edit version. And they were like, no. And then the labels were like, well, it's never going to get played on radio. And they couldn't have been more wrong, right? So speaking of the Beatles, you wanted to talk a little bit about Abbey Road, right?
Yeah. Abbey Road has the famous...
Abbey Road has Studio A, which is where all of I think it was built to record like Holst or Elgar. They wanted to make some recordings of Elgar or Holst. I forget which was the first British composer they wanted to put in there, but it was built, to basically do high-end recordings, for, London Symphony. And, then they're like, well, we're building this amazing space. Let's build a smaller space where we can record pop records, right? That's Studio 2, which is where the Beatles recorded pretty much everything. And certainly all the iconic tracks were all done there. And when they built it, there was no algorithmic reverb. That didn't exist. Now, I'm sure they had a whole fleet of EMT 140s. I don't even know what year the EMT 140 came out, but I'm sure they had a whole fleet of them. And, but the point is they had all these chambers, these various chambers. Right. So these are some of the actual Abbey Road chambers. And Rick Beato,
speakers and
if you go on YouTube and just search Rick Beato Abbey Road, you'll for sure get the video that's titled "They Finally Let Me Into Abbey Road," and he just like everything you could ever want to know, man. It's all there, and he asks a million questions, and he gets a tour of the famous chambers.
Right.
And so, for example, if you look at, Spitfire Audio, I remember when Abbey Road 2 came out, where they recorded a string quartet in the style of Eleanor Rigby in Abbey Road Studio 2. And if you look at all the mic positions and chambers, like it's unbelievably huge. And like the pro version, I don't know.
Right. It's very detailed.
Like I can just tell you real quick here, because I have it somewhere on my hard drive, but just the reason that it has such a massive, massive footprint on it, meaning file size. Here we go. Is because of all those chambers. It's 300 gigabytes, you guys. Massive.
Right. For a string quartet.
For a string quartet. And to give you an example, I don't know, let's choose Appassionata strings, 80 gigabytes,
Right.
Spitfire percussion, 30. Well, it's going to be smaller, obviously, but Albion.
How big is the flatus?
It's about 110, I think, 110.
Right.
But that's a full, including solo strings.
Right.
Right. So, and I think there's only 3 mic positions or possibilities. So,
something like that. That sounds right.
Anyway, but it's a massive 300 gigabyte Abbey Road 2 because of all those chambers. So, I'm not a big, I don't have a big, understanding of how things went over there. I did, back in the day, still own the Waves Abbey Road complete everything. Right? Because they made these incredible, I guess they also went in there and, made convolutions of all of Abbey Road. Anyway, I have it all. I just refuse to use Wave for
Waves is such a shit company. They really ruin themselves.
It is the expression "vote with your dollar."
Right.
That is literally what I'm doing. I will never buy their plugins ever again. It's a scam company. They lure you in with $20. Everything is always an urgent sale, and then they make up holidays like today is May Day, right? Like the 1st of May. So they'll be like, It's May 3rd. We're having an amazing sale. We decided to extend our, it's October 17th. So we've decided, it's like, what's on? Is the holiday? It's like, no, just Wednesday, So they're always like urgent, 24-hour only, and it's all bullshit because it's always the same price, So, and then
I almost got sucked into that when I got back into music because I had heard of Waves, years and years and years ago. And it was the top of the top. And when I looked at their website, I said, oh my God, there's a crazy sale right now. And I was about to get their Horizon bundle or Diamond bundle, whatever it was, this close. And at that time, it was like I don't know how much it was, but
not cheap.
It wasn't a little bit of money. And I was like,
nope.
No. But compared to what it used to be, like, 30 grand or something, something
Never
really
mind,
insane.
the Mercury was like over 60,000.
Right.
Right. So
insanely expensive. And all of a sudden it's like, $300. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, no, because this is why no one will ever trust them again, because the pro studios that bought the Mercury bundle were not given a choice. They were forced to go to subscription. So you're telling me I spent 60 grand and now I got to pay 25 a month for the rest of my life? The backlash was so swift and so immediate. In my composers group, within like 45 minutes of the announcement, there was an open Excel sheet with a list of every single plugin they make and alternative links to alternatives to those plugins.
Versions, right.
And I think 3 days, and then they backpedaled.
Yeah.
And said, "Oh, we'll give you a choice now," because it was a violent, like it was literally, you know what it was? It was like the town mob with torches and pitchforks.
Right, with the pitchforks.
Right?
Yeah.
Like that's what we were. And it's the only reason I'm speaking negatively. I always say, like, don't say negative things about anyone or anything because it makes you look bad. Not in this case. They look bad. They'll always look bad. And I warn everybody on stream, my students publicly, do not, look, to call them a scam company, maybe that's a little too much. But all I know is I know so many people who, buy the plugin for $20 and then they switch from whatever Windows 10 to Windows 11 and then their plugins don't work. And then the only way they can get an upgrade is to buy the full price, which is like $300. And that's why some
that's
people,
kind of a scam.
It kind of is, man.
I mean,
and of course they'll say, well, in our terms of service, which we know 99.9% of everybody reads and takes the time and spends 3 weeks going through it. Like nobody reads the terms of service. It's an industry that's based on trust. And they broke it in the biggest possible way. So stay away, buyer beware. Yeah.
Right.
And I literally, there's only one plugin, the Doppler, because I just haven't found a better Doppler. And I very rarely use if anybody knows or can recommend a great Doppler effect.
I think Sound Particles Doppler is pretty damn good.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's the only thing from them. I think it's pretty cheap too. Let me see. Sound Particles Doppler. Yeah, $100.
$100. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. They also have education pricing, so you can.
Okay. Good to know.
But yeah. Sound Particles Doppler. Just in case you want to get away from waves. But when we talk about the Beatles and Reverb.
Sorry, very quickly. JT, are you asking for a recommendation for a Reverb? Because I was reading your earlier comment. You said, please Reverb. Or are you complaining that it sucked your CPU? Q. Right, Q is question. Got it. Which is the Reverb that sucks the most CPU? Honestly, I don't know. I have a Mac Studio Ultra, you know what I mean? So it's like CPUs. Never. I don't ever think about that ever. I honestly don't know, but you should ask ChatGPT because you'll probably get a more accurate answer than asking me. The best thing I bought was recommended by DL. What was the best thing I recommended?
Right.
I'd like to know, but I don't know.
Keeping us in
I don't know
suspense.
I honestly, legit don't know the answer to that question. Anyway, what were you going to ask, Bobby?
I forgot. Beatles, Reverb. So they used that little room with the what are they called? Not poles. The columns, right?
Yeah, the chamber with the columns.
Right. And did they mix other reverbs on top of it, like a plate reverb on top? You don't know.
I honestly don't know.
Okay.
But, the reason those columns are there, if I'm just to speculate, okay, I don't know for a fact, but,
Right.
These chambers have specific shapes to the room. Sometimes they're completely parallel and even. Sometimes they're rotated.
Right.
But anything that's round is a diffuser. So actually, it's not going to bounce sound. It's going to diffuse sound, in fact.
Okay.
So I think it was to maybe just sort of get us a certain level of control. It's the only reason. Or they were marble or whatever and built to reflect, circular reflective. Like, who knows why? I don't know why, honestly. I am speculating as to why, the columns are there. But look at the tile. Look at it's beautiful. And then you see all the circuitry, the patch bay on the right-hand side there.
Right.
It's just wonderful. Just wonderful. Yeah. So, who knows, man? Who knows?
Did you ever pick up the Air Studios reverb?
Say again?
Spitfire?
No.
Did
No, no, definitely not. I didn't like, no, absolutely not.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I'm kind of honestly done with Spitfire. Like, I'm over it, man.
That was the last thing I bought from them.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful reverb. I love it. It's not programmed well. It crashes often.
Oh, that's terrible.
I can't use it as much as I would like, but it does sound beautiful. And in fact, they did such a good job that Air Studios uses it in their studio.
Wow. That's amazing.
When they record things there, they will put in things from other recordings to make it sound like it fits in there. So they did a really amazing job with the canopy and everything. But it's not the best, unfortunately. And unfortunately with Spitfire, I agree. I don't trust them anymore.
Well, that's it, right? I mean, they've been bought out by Splice, right? So they're not even an independent company. So Splice could come in tomorrow and say, you have to, add a TR-909 drum machine to your Abbey Road Orchestra, and they'd have to do it, I think Spitfire probably peaked about 5 years ago,
Right.
That was their peak. And then it's been, well, you and I, we both bought the Abbey Road Orchestra and, just the strings. And I bought the percussion as well. And I have never used either on any project. And I never will probably. So, unfortunately, yeah. And we talked about this, and we're not going to talk about the political reasons because it doesn't even matter.
Right.
But the soul of the company, without question, was Christian Henson. He was the soul. But just like the Beatles, after they broke up, Paul, John, and George, and Ringo, their albums were never as good as when they were with the Beatles. They just never were. Imagine is a wonderful song, but it's not A Day in the Life, right? It's not Eleanor Rigby or She's Leaving Home. And so I feel the same way. Like, I gave, what is it? Crow Hill? Shows you how often I use their stuff. I gave it I bought 3 libraries and never used a single one. And the Concussion library I bought, never used it once.
Oh.
So, and I've never used the Hammers, which I also bought from Spitfire.
Really? Wow, I use hammers frequently.
No.
Yeah,
I guess I'm just sort of like, I
I
love
layer that a lot.
yeah, I a couple of ones I just love and adore. Um, my Apocalypse percussion, I
Oh,
just
wow.
love that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's my go-to, it's my fave, and it is a very unique library. Yeah.
Right.
And the funny thing is, the Museo version doesn't exactly sound like their version 1 of the library. Their version 2 for Contact also doesn't sound as good as version 1. So I use version 1 only. I don't like the version 2. So
that's your go-to percussion?
It's my go-to. Yeah, for epic percussion. It's just amazing.
Very epic, right?
Oh yeah. And I know it. I know it like, like when your eggs are ready.
Right.
Like, it's just like they're in the pan, you just look at the eggs and they're ready.
Right.
Like everybody's cooked eggs and you just get to know it, Anyway, yeah, so that Spitfire drumline is absolutely
it's fantastic.
in my top 5 of all time percussion libraries. It is legendary and just amazing. And the thing I love is it's so versatile. You can use it on a pop music track. You can use it for epic orchestral. I've used it for quirky, like really quirky. If I want quirky drums, if you want drums that don't sound sort of typical, yeah. Right. Spitfire drumline, that's one of their best damn libraries, right?
Yeah. The drumline is, and it's so, $20 or something like that.
Yeah, it's 29 pounds or whatever it is. Right. You do quirky very well. Anyway, yeah, the Spitfire's never been the same after Henson left.
Right.
It's never been the same, man. And Crow Hill is like, meh.
It's weird when groups, I'm thinking more like bands, when they try to continue when one of their people leaves. And it just never really, the magic is gone.
Yeah. Listen, man, the word is synergy, right? The Beatles had synergy, right? So the total was greater than the sum of the parts, right? So, I mean, it is what it is. So, but yeah, I think, I think it's kind of over for Spitfire. I can't really see them. I can't see anything they could ever do that would innovate, And Abbey Road Orchestra was such a disaster. I've not even bothered to check to see. I guess they have brass or winds now or whatever. I don't know. I checked once.
A couple winds, but they're A2. So what are you going to do with two flutes in unison?
Yeah. So whatever.
I was really disappointed because Paul is a clarinet player. And I got the A2 flutes thinking that, okay, when the clarinets come out, they'll be great. I got the A2 flutes because they came out first, and they are unplayable.
I bet.
I just can't feel them whatsoever. And because of that, I didn't get the clarinets, despite, hoping that Paul would.
Listen,
make
when
it good,
something is done on such a high level, it's very hard to duplicate, right? The Spitfire chamber strings is probably the crown jewel. It's like probably the best library that they've ever made, and it will be usable forever. Like you can always use that forever, and it'll sound great. The original Vienna Symphonic Library, the what did they call it? The I don't know. It's like a sort of bundle. I don't know what bundle, but the special edition volume 1. Yeah. That is one of the best libraries ever made. It'll always be one of the best libraries ever made. And it will always be playable and usable. I still have never found better glissandi. Never better. Nothing is as good. Especially if I'm trying to do like a Turkish or Ottoman, Middle Eastern, slidey, bendy, like the Arabian Ethnic or the Arabian Ethnic Orchestra.
Arabian Ethnic, I believe, yeah.
It was the most disappointing glissandi I was all excited because I thought,
Right.
wow, there's like a knob for the length. And I looked at it and it was already set to maximum. And it was just junk, just garbage. It just felt like they sort of just repurposed some of the afflatus and threw it in, you know.
So are we saying that sampling isn't dead? That there's still room?
No, I think it's dead. Done.
Okay.
Even for Stretsoff, it's done. The last two I bought were junk. Pure junk. I don't use the Arabian Ethnic Orchestra, and I can't. It's so forgettable. The one I bought for before that what was it? I think we both bought it, didn't we? So forgettable that I can't even.
I completely forgot it too.
I know. Pacha.
Oh, Pacha was a huge disappointment.
Like,
I really love,
everything they
guitars
promised
and all that.
Was amazing. I was so looking forward to it. And guys, I
Right.
bought both these libraries based on afflatus and how afflatus has been so amazing. But I can promise you, when volume 3 afflatus 3 comes out, which will be the Woodwinds, I'm not buying it. I'm going to find an option to preview it and use it for a month. And then if I think it's great, I'll buy it. But the fact that I have to go back to the not trusting it. So no, I think sampling's done. I think all the Vienna Symphonic Library, there is still not a better clarinet anywhere. All right. And I mean this. I will just go right now and pull it up. You will.
Yeah, because of everybody talking about that clarinet, I bought the Synchron woodwinds, and
Not the same.
they suck.
Nope, because
They
it's
are
not the same
bad.
thing. It's not the, yeah. No, the specifically from the first edition of the special edition or whatever they called it.
So it's
wait,
interesting
hold on,
how much of it.
Can I just quickly,
Sure, of course.
just so we can. That has so much soul and feeling. And that's it. The point is, these are some of the best musicians in the world. And a full stop, man. Anyway, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I
was just
wanted
going
to
to say it's interesting how much of an art sampling really is, and how you just can't capture lightning in a bottle twice, even for the same company, for the same studio, the same place, the same player. It's fascinating that sometimes they just go back and like, okay, we're going to do it again, and this time do 12 round robins or whatever, and
the funny
really capture the legato, and
the funny
they
thing
just
is,
can't get it.
Yeah, no. The funny thing is that the main guy at VSL who does all the videos, I don't know his name, but he is
Paul, I think.
something, I don't know. He is the most kindest, nicest, genuine, sweet, and believable. Like, he's great. He's such an amazing presenter. A little bit stiff, but only because English is his second language. So there's a few parts where it feels maybe a little rehearsed. But the point is, he's got an aura about him. But I remember once I was so upset with him. I don't get me wrong. I still adore him. But, he was talking about the synchronized VSL library. So they took the original VSL and put it in the Synchron engine. And that clarinet was utterly, brutally destroyed.
Yeah.
It sounds like fucking shit. And then he's like, and blah, blah, blah. And for those that want, you can still buy the original VSL. Like, all cocky and glib and just like, why would you ever want to ever buy that? Well, because it's fucking better than your shit Synchron. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Like that clarinet that I just played. I mean, that's...
Right.
That's amazing. That's just a beautiful clarinet. And there is no clarinet I've ever heard that even comes close. Nothing. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Okay.
I think it's getting to be about that time.
Yeah. We
Big
talked a lot.
apologies if I did not read your messages. So
JT got Museo. That's what you recommended, and he's very happy with it.
which one?
Museo.
Oh, yeah, right. My recommendation. Yeah, I've always recommended Museo to people. I think it's fantastic. I mean, first of all, Cinesamples, they're recording. Oh, we got a new subscriber. Unfortunately, I don't have anything exciting for you, but you do get a Brahm.
The Brahms.
I hope that was exciting. It's my Brahm. I made that Brahm. So,
Right.
that's about all. Anyway, Museo, they record everything in LA with LA players, and they're recording on the MGM stage for the most part. I don't know if it's every single library, but the MGM stage, they're not messing around over there. And so it's like pure LA film scoring library, and that's what makes it great. And I will say that the Contact versions of, like, I actually bought, even though I bought the Everything Museo license, I still wound up, when it went on sale, buying the Tina Guo cello volume 1 and 2 for Contact, because it just sounds
Great
better. It
cello.
plays better, sounds better.
Right.
And same thing
Yeah.
with their, I've always owned the Cinebrass and Cinebrass Pro, just better on Contact. But some of their new libraries, like Industry Brass, are only for Museo. They're fantastic because they're building it from the ground up. They're not converting it.
Right.
So Museo, I recommend to anybody, absolutely anybody. It's cheap. It's amazing. And if you were to say to me, okay, you can only have one library for the rest of your life, I'd probably choose Museo, honestly. It's just that good.
That's a cheat, but sure.
Well, yeah, but I mean, wow. Maybe the East West. I don't know. Composer Cloud. I don't know. It's hard to choose, but don't make me choose. Anyway.
Okay, we won't.
All right. So, guys, thank you all for showing up and spending an evening with us. And we wish you all the best. And anything, Bobby, before I sign off here?
Good.
All righty. It's that time. So, like I always say, I think the purpose of life is to find some purpose in life. And I think the meaning of life is to find some meaning in life. And we will see you.